Hi, everybody, and thanks for joining me. I am here today with author Susan Childs, and this is her new publication, The Emotionally Intelligent Physician Leader, and she's going to tell us all about it. But first, a little background on you, Susan. I just want to make sure I get this right. 30 years experience in healthcare, board certified with the American College of Medical Practice Executives, founder of Evolution Healthcare Consulting, and then this long list. You've been a presenter for the AAP, AAOE, MGMA, ASCENT, ACC, and the AMA.
Yeah, they're all initials.
Exactly. You'll fill us in on what those are later, right?
Yes, every group. Yes.
Exactly, all of them.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for talking with me about this book. I'm very intrigued about it. And also, I want to know, first of all, why you wrote this book and why it's important right now. Let's start with that.
You know, I've been building up to this for years. I look at my past presentations and I see what I've been doing, and it's all built up to the relationship, and really, to me, the most important relationship with the physician and the patient. Everyone else can be replaced, but it's that we all run circles around, and we should. So that, to me, is the most important thing. I think in the last 15 years, I've seen a lot of depersonalization. I don't like that. I don't like take a number. I don't want to go to a hospital and take a number and be called down the hall when 4 receptionists I've walked by and they can't call me over to say hello. It doesn't make sense to me. Now, that might be in their protocols, and they're not supposed to do that because they have to keep track. I don't know. But how about some emotional intelligence in there for the patient instead of the processes? So I want to build that away from that take a number healthcare and bring that personalization in. And that comes in with the physician and the patient, maintaining that relationship, and everyone else in the building doing that too, because the physician is only 10% of the visit. So 90% of that from your first visit looking at the website, 83% of your patients look at your website. You want it to be welcoming. If it's not, they're going to go somewhere else. Things like that. Every person, every level of care is emotional intelligence, and that's what I want to see in the practice.
I agree with that so much. I had a health scare about 4 years ago, and it felt very assembly line at some of the places that I had to go. And I was like, I'm more scared now and uncertain than I was when I got here. So I think this is a great thing. I don't want you to give away everything that's in the book.
Okay.
But to that point, what are some top talking points that you would want to share with us?
I think there's a lot about communication here. And I think about 5 or 6 years ago, I said to people, we need to be doing more of the communication because everyone's looking at screens, including me. I'm addicted to my screens, and I know that. And I have to pull myself away from it. And physicians are like that with their screens when they're talking to patients. And patients want to know, why are you looking at that screen instead of me? But I think that communication, I think 80% of your success is determined by your communication. So think about when you learn how to communicate with your parents, with your siblings, with your school. You got your first job, your first boyfriend, your first girlfriend, that manners made a difference. Your communication is huge. I think a good example of that is doctors used to interrupt patients every 12 seconds. Now it's every 18 seconds because they have to ask questions,
right?
But they also have to listen. So doing both is a very hard thing to do. So listening and communicating. Also,
before you go to the next thing, I think that is brilliant because as a patient, they're glued to their screen, and all I want to know is, what are they putting in there?
Right.
What am I saying wrong? What am I doing? What am I not telling them? What are they saying about me in that screen?
Right.
So that's a great point.
Well, as a patient, I remember nothing. As a consultant, I'll go into an office, and I remember every nook and cranny. I remember every staff member. I remember every issue. But when I'm a patient, I'm terrified, and I have to write everything down. It's just a whole different head.
Was that old joke? As soon as you get the gown on, you can't remember anything at all. Like nothing happens. Like as soon as you put the gown on,
I'll walk into the office and I can't remember. So that's okay. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
What other tips from the book? What other things you want to talk about?
Well, like I said, there's the communication. It's all about respect and getting along with each other. It's appreciating every person along the way. Janitorial to CEO, everyone has something to offer. I think a lot of practices have gotten wiser where they include front desk staff and billing people in big decisions. It also helps you maintain and be self-regulating and see what sets off your cues and how you can come off to people and be very positive. Everything with emotional intelligence has a positive resolution. So when you're confronting an angry patient or an angry staff member or an angry peer, or you're trying to manage up, all these have to do with relationships and how you interact. And the beautiful thing about emotional intelligence is as you tap into it more, you'll notice people react differently to you because they're noticing you more, and you're listening a little more, and you're communicating a little more.
I love hearing this. I really do, because my experience really is from the patient side. Yeah,
right.
I'm not a physician.
And everybody's been a patient. We can all relate to that.
Exactly. And I think it's good to remember these things. For our members, what's your number one piece of advice to them that you'd give them today?
Start with what you know. Start with yourself. And I would say look into yourself, see what sets you off. See when you make those good decisions. Look at your natural rhythm. Are you better in the morning than in the evening? I am great at 8 in the morning. At 3 o'clock, I want to take a nap. I've been that way since I was 20. And it's just, if you go with rhythm, your body, if you're, again, empathize with people and see where they're coming from, that's the difference, if you can do that. My grandfather was a physician in Brooklyn, and people couldn't pay their bills. So what he would do is he would trade for services. And my father would tell me how they would find baskets of things on the back porch, like food or fresh, clean clothing or something like that, because he let people keep their pride. The number one thing with a patient is you never put them in a place of shame. You want everybody to be collaborative and feel really good about the care they're getting. I love my doctor. I can talk to her about anything, and that's what we want.
That is perfect. That is great advice. You're coming again from the patient side of this.
Yeah.
But we've had those experiences.
But also our side, because we have to have procedures, guiding a patient through a conversation so you get to hear what they have to say, but still being in time for the next patient. That's another thing. The time factor of how to listen and then get feedback and go back and forth.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think this sounds like a great book. I everybody said so far that's read this book. So again, it is The Emotionally Intelligent Physician Leader. And for our members, you have graciously signed 50 of these books. And if you join, you get a signed copy of this book. So that's a great deal for our members. If you are already a member, you can also get this book from your website. And I'm going to make sure I get this right. evohcc.com. We'll also have this on the screen for everybody. Thank you. This is a great conversation. I wish we could do this once a week.
We will.
Even better. Even better. Thanks so much. All right. Thanks, Susan Childs. And thank you all for joining us.